is an amazing conference. As you know, we announced a year ago, Real and Xylem joining forces, so this conference is kind of like our anniversary party.
Cool. So, how do you think, like, in which areas the casual games will get like the best expansion, like during the next couple of years?
Well, I think casual games is growing in many ways. It's growing in terms of the platform, in terms of the worldwide reach, in terms of having it be something that's an advertising business as well as a consumer purchase kind of business, and it's also growing in terms of how it connects with communities. So, man, there's a lot of different ways this is growing, and it's very, very exciting.
Okay. So, and I know that Real has like lots of business directions. So, please tell what is like the most important one for the next year.
That's like asking me which of my twins I like better, Cameron or Eva. I love them both. And we love all of our businesses. Our games business is our fastest growing business. It grew over 50% from the first 9 months of the year compared to the previous period. And so it continues to be incredibly exciting growth business. But we're lucky to be in several businesses that are growing really well. So we love all our children. Well, I think the best thing about the casual games business is it's a very, very progressive industry. So when there's new things to do, we don't spend a lot of time trying to negotiate deals, argue with people. We just say, hey, let's try it and see if it works. And if it works, everyone jumps in and goes for it. We saw that with advertising. We've seen that with other modes of distribution. We've seen that with other platforms. And it's a great attitude where everybody's willing to innovate and experiment and try things out. And that's how the industry's gotten this far so fast.
I would like to ask you a couple of questions. First of them is, could you please tell us which country you consider to have the largest multiplayer community in Europe?
Mm-hmm. We offer our games in the whole of Europe, so that the country which for us is the most relevant one is the country which also has the most online players, and which happens to be also the country with the largest population in Europe, which is Germany.
And also, could you tell us which is like the most successful project, tournament game that you have?
So we have several games. We have more than about 60 games, and most of these games are developed in-house. We also license external games we license games like, for example, Luxor, and we license TV properties like, for example, Deal No Deal or Big Brother. The most successful game at the moment is a game we developed called Funny Farm, which is a game where you have to clear the tiles from a field in a puzzle game with very sweet little animals which do that nice sounds, squeaks, and so on. And yeah, that's at the moment the most popular game.
So, Kate, could you just explain us what the user-generated content is? And just give us the examples.
Sure. User-generated content is a new practice in entertainment in which the entertainment providers no longer look exclusively to professionals to create the product, but instead look to the audience. The audience can create the entertainment experience from soup to nuts. For example, if an audience member creates a video and loads it up to YouTube, or an audience member can customize an experience that the entertainment provider has created for them. For example, someone could customize or add their own photos into a game, and that would be a great example. I can imagine a lot of high school students might want to put their teacher into a dunk tank in a game, and that's another example of user-generated content. MTV's main business direction is to entertain the youth and young adults of America, and I think that with user-generated content, it's definitely how young people are entertaining themselves now. We have a number of different programs where we're soliciting and driving entertainment based on users and what they want. For example, Total Request Live is a great example of user-generated content. There's actually users determine who wins. Another example is online. the website that I run, Addicting Games, is games submitted by users. Every week we see about 50 games that folks who are aged 13 to 25 have made. And they're not professionals. They're looking for a broad audience, and they're really happy to get their game promoted on Addicting Games.
The big milestones, I mean, I give a lot of credit to Jessica, actually, for putting these conferences together. When I started, I actually wrote the business plan for Real Arcade, and that was the industry didn't exist. And then actually coming to a conference and seeing, 500-600 people, all, part of this industry, it's amazing, really. I mean, it's eye-opening, the fact that to watch an industry go from nothing to a fairly, sizable industry. Mm-hmm. For the future, there's a lot of indicators from, the consoles and the mobile embracing casual to just the aging of the baby boomers in the U.S. alone that are just going to be huge drivers of growth. And so I just see it exploding from here.
Okay, and one more question about the future perspectives. What is your opinion? Will the publishers make the rules, or the developers? Who will be in charge of this market?
Well, part of my keynote was that we are taking a stab at actually re-evaluating the value chain, and that distributors who work tightly with us will be getting a bigger part of the value chain. And I think people who control, really valuable IP, working in conjunction with a distributor, are going to be having probably the best position to grow in the market. Publishing is opportunistic. It's not as necessary as it is with retail. And so I think there is a place for it, but I don't think it'll be a driver.
Well, what would you tell to those people who say that retail sales are going to disappear like in 2 years?
I would say absolutely. Although what time that will occur, I think, will take much longer than what people believe. If you look at the PC space today, hardcore PC games are actually selling less. But when you look at the casual space, it's actually growing year over year, and that's because users who play these games online, they're actually going and purchasing these games at retail, and that will continue to go because it's a generational thing. If you look at 20-year-olds, they're very used to downloading their games and buying them on Xbox Live. But if you look at the 45-year-old casual gamer, they're much more comfortable with buying a physical good and having that physical good in their hands. And so whether it's buying games to give to others or games they actually want to just have as a physical good because they're used to doing it and they want that shopping experience, they're going to keep that experience going on for quite some time. So it's not going to be 2 years. It may be 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years, but it will take it'll take a longer time than what people really think. I think each country has different consumer demographics, different consumer needs, and so it will differ a little bit by country, although I think we look at casual games are strongest, both in the U.S. and Europe. I think the shopping habits are very similar, and staying, say, the long retail presence at retail will also be consistent.
Hi guys, so how's the conference going for you so far?
The conference is going really well. We organized this together with Jessica Thames of the Casual Games Association last year first. We thought it was a really big initiative for the casual games market. Last year, I think about 400 people showed up. this year a lot more. So I think this conference is really great. It's done what it's needed to do, which is to bring together the casual games industry, and I think everything was really good so far.
Okay. And one more question: how do you think which country has like the biggest casual game players population?
That's a very good question. I think there's no one easy answer to that question. I think the UK, probably because of historical reasons, has a big casual games population. I mean, for UK people, it was always easy to go to US sites and play games there. So I think historically, a lot of people in the UK have been able to play games in the local language. So we have a pretty big population there. Similarly for Germany, Germany is a huge market. A lot of people play games, love to play games. And there's actually a couple of smaller markets that do really well. I mean, Netherlands, for example, extremely high broadband penetration. People love to play games, and there's been a big push for casual games over the last couple of years. So that obviously helps to build the market. And similarly for a lot of Scandinavian markets.
Great. Thank you, guys. Okay, Daniel, what do you consider to be the most successful game development practices in casual game industry?
I think it's iteration and being able to iterate on a basic game dynamic to actually make it better and better. PopCap does it very well. We do it as well on our games. PopCap spent weeks on getting the jewels to fall perfectly in Bejewel 2. We spent 2 weeks on Jill's Smile. It's something as simple as that. So I think that is a very important practice and something that I think the most successful casual game developers do.
Okay, thank you. And could you describe like a perfect development process, but in terms comparing with the other industry?
I think an example of that would be the car business. I guess building a car from scratch, you'd build out a prototype. And we can build out as many prototypes as we want in casual games of any game dynamics that we feel is good. One thing that we can't really do in the car industry, or maybe they can, I'm just not as familiar with it as I am with games, but is actually getting the prototypes in the hands of users as quickly as we can. So one thing that we can do is get 10,000 people to play a beta of our game. We can't really get 10,000 real game players, real people to drive, prototype versions of a car. They would all crash and it would be a very terrible thing. So I think we have an advantage.
Could you tell us, please, what potential do you see in advertising within the games?
I think there's a lot of opportunity for developers, especially with what we're doing in bringing advertising into the games. It's really what we hope to do is to do it in such a way from the developer side and the player side where it's not very obtrusive, so it doesn't really get in the way of the gameplay. Do it at times when there's a natural break in the gameplay. But in doing that, it's going to let the developer look at different ways of monetizing their game, different ways of making money. So instead of just having to rely only on selling the download at some point in time, now by putting ads in games and at different different types of the games, they could get money from a web trial version. They could get money from the trial period of a download. They could even take the whole download, what used to be the whole download game, and put it up as a completely free web version of the game, and potentially make even more money. I mean, and that works when you think about the conversion rates that games go through. 100 people download a game, and 2 buy it. And what we see from the MSN Games site is that to get to that 100 downloads, there was probably 200 or more people who looked at the game page, who thought about downloading. They might have even clicked on it, but they never finished the download. So when you take and you say, well, there's 200 people that were interested in playing that game, and if it would have just been up on the web, maybe they would have played, and maybe then the developer was raising revenue from what was inside the game versus the 2 people who actually bought the game. That's why we think it could make a lot of money for developers.
Also, what is interesting is which genres you consider the most profitable?
Last year on the MSN Games site, Bejeweled 2 was the most popular game. And so as a result, just if they had put advertising in that game, that I'm sure would have earned the most revenue overall. And the popular genres vary a little bit by the demographics of the people who come to the site. On our site we have about 2/3 women, and about half of them are over 35. So the games that we see that are most popular are word games and puzzle games.
Tony, please, could you tell us what was the best marketing experience for Oberon last year?
The best marketing experience for Oberon last year. I think one of the most important things that Oberon did last year in terms of marketing was really get serious about bringing on people to help drive marketing initiatives. So now for the first time, again, beginning sort of late last year, Oberon has a bigger team, and we're able to focus on the needs of our distribution partners, both our Game Center channel partners as well as our partners like Yahoo and Big Fish and other non-Game Center partners, and provide them with the support that they need. So that's probably one of the biggest things that we did. And we also started getting serious about really talking about the benefits of the game and doing a better job of communicating the benefits of a particular title and trying to get those out again to our distribution partners. So I think the things that really, in order for a game to be successful, and you asked if for a game to be successful, is it all about marketing or is it all about the game quality? And I think it's really the latter. It's all about game quality. The game has to be really great in order to sell, because our world is a try before you buy world. The downloadable casual game space, unlike at retail or in the core market, where a pretty box or a popular license might sell a game. Users try the games before they pay for them. So it's fundamental to have a really great game. There's no amount of marketing that will sell a bad game in the try before you buy space.
Thank you.
A new venture besides games. I think I've always wanted to write a novel, so that's why I started off as a journalist and a writer. So I would probably take a sabbatical and try to write the great Canadian crime novel set in the far north of Edmonton, Alberta during the winter, which is where I grew up. Not sure if that'd be a big bestseller or not.
And what are your favorite titles?
Well, favorite titles that we've done, or just any titles?
Any. And what you've done, actually?
Let's see. Out of our games, I still like Bejeweled a lot, and Bejeweled and Zuma. And out of our current ones, I like Bookworm Adventures a lot. Out of other people's games, right now, I'm playing a lot of stuff on some of the consoles, like the Wii. The Nintendo Wii is really cool.
So Lloyd, could you tell us what Merscom can offer to a developer as a publisher?
We actually offer several things. First, it's really our distribution channels. We're the only publisher who has integrated channels, both online and in retail. Our products are sold at Walmart and Target and Best Buy in the U.S., all the major retailers in Europe, online at the major portals like Big Fish and Reflexive, Xbox Live. And then throughout the process, we also try to move games that we already know are good to great. We have producers in-house, and we use feedback from panels and focus groups to really turn a good game into a game that's going to be a top 1 or 2 game.
Could you just name us some of the latest titles released by Merscom?
Well, actually, Glyph is shipping today. That's a match 3 from Sandlot that's been really successful online. Next month, we're going to be releasing Big Kahuna Words, which is obviously a word game from Reflexive. We've also done Buku Sudoku and Buku Kukuru from that great Ukrainian developer, Absolutist.
Oh, really?
And some of our upcoming titles are Jewelcraft from a Russian studio called Game Over, Ingenious, which is based on a German board game, and Buku Dominoes, also from Absolutist.
What were like the best happenings for Macrovision during the last year?
Well, Macrovision, and happy to say we finally got through our pilot phase. Being a larger company, we have to go through a lot more betas and pilots. So we were successful in 06, proved the model that it was high demand, and have partnerships established. And in 07, we've been working the pipeline to get more advertising and games out there. In fact, we even went a little bit above our pre-roll model, and we had a few tests that were ad-supported games. We did a few trials with those. So really excited.
Did you implement any other ways of how to raise additional money except for advertising?
On that, though, we have looked at advertising-supported games. So we looked at a pre-roll type of ad where the user could play forever as long as they want, as long as they're willing to see an advert. And the response back from the user reviews were quite positive. But where we're going in addition to advertising is really looking at other community-based tools. And there's a few projects underway, part of what our research has uncovered. So we're looking at a lot of the Web 2.0 things you've probably heard about, sharing with communities, building up award points and things like that around loyalty programs.
Well, the history of the Zebis extends back to 1948 and the founding of the League of Nations. No, I'm just kidding. UN Resolution number 32. At the middle of last year, I approached Joel and I said, look, I think that we should have an awards for the casual game business because, we're making all these great casual games. The industry is 6 or 7 years old at this point, in its current form. And, there's lots of great content being produced and it's time for, some affirmation for the creativity of the people in the business as well as an opportunity for developers to differentiate themselves. Joel said, that's a great idea. We should totally do that. And, so then together we went to the Casual Games Association and to Jessica Tams and we said, hey, Jess, what do you think about an award show? And she said, that is a fantastic idea.
Are you going to do something like that during the next conferences?
Yeah, we plan to do this for the next 100 years because it's been so successful right now. So. Well, I mean, obviously, like the biggest things that people talk about in GameZeba are games from a company called Absolutist and games coming from Russia. But in addition to that,
Please don't do that. So, guys, what do you hate and what do you love about all these conferences?
Well, I'll start out by saying we can just go back and forth. Yeah. I love all the delicious food that people serve at every event. I think it's so good. I've eaten so well. Other things?
What about you?
We love. I like all the insightful commentary, and how about that for kissing butt? The program was amazing. I learned a lot.
I love the tropical destinations that Jessica likes to choose, like Amsterdam in the winter and Kiev in the fall. Yeah. What's next? Seattle in the summertime? Oh, it's beautiful. I love it.
Actually, I hear it's going to be Siberia.
Oh my God,
Siberia in December during Christmas, so we can't even be with our families.
It'll be nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll let you answer that, Gabe.
Oh, what we hate and what we love. Somehow we go on.